But that's a good point that you bring up then. And as I mentioned before, all I do when talking to people is look for segues. Uh, the you open the TV and everything is shit, and that's why you thought ke podcast karna chahiye. Why did you, and then we'll go in reverse order. Why did you start a podcast? Why not just do like a YouTube series, or why not go and work on television? Why
Yeah,
podcast?
so podcast was easier initially. जब मैंने research करना शुरू की, the format was better. I didn't have to sort of invest a lot of time and effort in sort of post production, graphics वगैरह. Very quickly realize हो गया कि पाकिस्तान में podcasting में लोग अभी भी इतने ज़्यादा नहीं आए. YouTube पे ज़्यादा सुनते हैं. तो अब पाकिस्तान में is on YouTube as video, Zoom पे recording होती है. It's easier to put up. वगैरह वगैरह. But podcast essentially ये था कि it's just a better, more formal or less formal way of having a conversation with someone. Like आप phone मिला रहे हैं किसी को, right? And like you send them a link. अब pandemic की वजह से Zoom की सबकी आदत हो गई, तो that helped a lot कि लोग comfortable हो गए. But otherwise it was just the format. अब मैं खुद ज़्यादा सुनता हूँ podcast को when I'm out walking, running वगैरह. तो मैंने सोचा यार, if I am listening to this long form content, मैं screen के सामने बैठ के तो नहीं सुनने वाला. And that was the reason why.
Right, right. What about you guys, Kazi? Why did you start a podcast specifically?
Anyway, it's been said to death. I really have lost faith in had lost faith in our ability to have conversations. And I was like, conversations happen long form. There are segues, and we jump from one thing to another. Nothing's ever, no one's in real life. No one's going to chew your food for you. I use this analogy often, and that was the goal, is to have people on and just have conversations. Like the longest podcast I've ever done, and I'm very happy with it, alhamdulillah, is 3 hours long. And not for a second was I like, yeah, I need to be elsewhere. Like I was like, this is a brilliant conversation, and people need to fucking sit through it. और ज्यादातर मुझे यही आता है कि भाई आप जो है ना वो टाइम स्टैम्प्स लगा दे, नहीं
टाइम
आप
स्टैम्प्स
सुनो,
लगा दे.
हाँ आप गुफ्तगू सुनो भाई, क्या हो गया यार. Also, me and Uzair have cleft chins. We're brothers now. मैं बता रहा हूँ सिर्फ.
Nice.
जो है वो है, बस मैंने बोल दिया.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
And what about you, Daniel? Why podcasts? Because
yeah,
another reason why I'm asking this is pandemic tha, you're interested in the thing, but effectively, apart from like a handful of people outside of those here, this is Pakistan ki podcasting space. Acha, there's a disclaimer. So when you look at the people here, there are some people who have podcasts who are not here.
Yeah.
Those people are very famous, and
Yeah.
I have not included them consciously because they were famous before they started podcasts. It's been a very आजकल के ज़माने में like incremental YouTube step. If you're already a YouTuber, your natural progression is towards a podcast, and I feel कि उनका fame, pre-existing fame, has bled into their podcasting success as well. So that's
Yeah.
why I got people who have no history and specifically started podcasts because I was curious about that thought process, which is what we're talking about now. So Daniel, why not just make like YouTube videos or video essays? Why podcasts?
Actually, you're right that for me initially, the concept. So my whole thing has a lot to do with mixed martial arts, and I will always, no matter where I go, advocate. Not just advocate for it, but at least try to talk about it as much as I can. I just want to fill people's ears up with
Right.
as much MMA as possible, because I really do think it is the best thing that can happen, not just to a country or a group
Okay.
of people, but to anybody. It is the best thing universally that somebody can do.
सड़क
Invest
पे
in and
आपके
really.
साथ हो जाए MMA, best is the best thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, और अगर आपको आती हो तो फिर तो best scene है. Like, you know what I mean? If you're better than the other dude, फिर तो it's like the best, bro.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like I started, and this was pre-pandemic. This was around December. Sarai Fight Night 1 happens, and it's touted as the biggest MMA show in Pakistan's history. I've never heard. I did know Pakistani MMA existed, but I didn't know shows of this scale happened. I was driving. I was checking my phone. Very unethical. Sorry, don't do that. It's not good. Please don't. But I saw an ad which basically said we need a ring announcer and a commentator. I called him up. I said I want to do both. I've never done either, but I want to try it. I think I can do it. I did a bit of debating in school. I
Right.
can run my mouth. I know what
Right.
I know. I can like at least hold a conversation, at least talk about something.
Yeah.
From there, after doing all of that, I realized, yeah, you know what's missing in Pak MMA? It's everything's there. The fighters are there. The coaches are there. The quality is there. the athletic acumen required to be world beaters is there. But the one thing that's missing is nobody's talking to them, nobody's talking about them, nobody's putting the stuff on record, nobody's holding interviews or doing any kind of thing which somebody can look at 5 years from now and say, oh, Najm Khan, now world champion. Actually, this was his podcast from 5 years ago when he's coming up in Pakistan. So my whole thing was just for the sake of recording conversations, dialogue, long form, just like, discussions and all of the things Qazi and Uzair have already talked about, but do it for mostly a group of people who do not get any kind of coverage for whatever reason because of how nascent the industry is or whatever. I don't know what it is, but nobody really wants to do anything to do with MMA. So, and now it's spiraled into like, I just enjoy talking to people, not just talking to MMA fighters. So I'll have some musicians on and have, other people who are, Pakistani and just do things. So
right. So your thing was not like, for example, one of the reasons we also started was like Qazi and Uzair mentioned, sort of like being disillusioned with existing Pakistani media. Because like agar information ki baat kare to hamari news media वगैरह तो like for years it's been just people yelling at each other and then घर चले आते हैं. वही लोग पे किसी और channel पे आते हैं, they yell at each other and फिर घर चले आते हैं. Like the stagnation thing. But your thing was exploring this one subject that you were passionate about and was like had no representation, not even underrepresented.
No, not at all. Like I know some names will pop up in people's head, like Bashir Ahmed, the guy who's considered the godfather of Pak MMA. But there's so many people who've done so much, that actually absolutely have no praise to their name, nothing. And now the currency is, on everyone's phone. It's followers and numbers, and or if nothing else, at least pieces of content that people can look back at. This is going to be our history one day. This is going to be things people look at to research and understand something. If there's nothing there, then that's the worst thing that can happen to not just any group of people, but to a group of people that physically put their lives on the line, knowing that there is absolutely no recourse in case they get injured or worse, dead. There's no recourse, no insurance, nothing. This is their sport. This is what they do. Sorry, guys, I get a little emotional. I'm taking all the airtime. This means a lot to me, but yeah.
पीछे वाली लाइटों की intensity भी ऐसा लग रहा है कि बढ़ रही है. अच्छा, तो मुझे बताओ, like Uzair mentioned, Uzair, did your show was audio only first?
Started as audio only, yes.
And then we also started audio only, and then to get like a bigger audience, हमने कहा कि चलो YouTube पे भी आते हैं. Qazi and Danial, did you ever consider audio first, audio only, or was it YouTube was on your mind from day one as well? Or are you even audio secondary?
No. So मैं तो अली भाई आपको पता है, my initial thing was इरफान भाई ने मुझे दिया था homework. I vlogged for a month straight every day.
Yeah.
तो then फिर वो that didn't. I was like, यार नहीं ये नहीं है. I'm just not gonna do this. So फिर mine was always video and audio. I don't know why I didn't like that was it.
Yeah. What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, it was always video. I mean, we actually went into only audio much later.
Right.
Because I really do think like from every perspective, look at it, just how appealing it is or how fun it is. Even like I know people get conscious when I still get very conscious when a camera is pointed at me. Like I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
Because I have to be. I haven't learned to completely be natural in front of camera. But that dynamic is very interesting. When somebody's looking at you and you know that. And I think it really brings some really interesting conversations out.
Okay.
So always video.